Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Friday's first in a series of 5 URISA Exemplary Systems in Government Award webinars. We're happy you're here on a Friday. Thank you for being here. The URISA Exemplary Systems in Government Awards have been happening for 24 years. That's pretty awesome. It's sort of like the Grammys or the Oscars of grassroots GIS awards. The URISA Exemplary Systems and Government Awards were inaugurated in 1980. Can you believe that? By the Urban and Regional Information Systems Association. And they recognize extraordinary achievement by government agencies in the use of geographical information systems and technology. Today is the first in a series of 5 webinars. We have today, February. We also have one in March, April, May, and June. And they're celebrating the 2023 award winners of our Exemplary Systems in Government award winners achievement. And the ESIG Award Committee is a group of volunteers. My name is Rachel Perinello. I work at the Boulder County Sheriff's Office in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm on the ESIG Award Committee. And so this is a grassroots, peer-reviewed, very high level of achievement that these award winners need to achieve to win this award. So today, I'm here to introduce Ryan Malhoski. He's going to present on his top award single process system category for the 2023 URISA ESIG Award Exemplary System. And I want to introduce Ryan. Ryan Malhoski is a GIS manager with the city of South Lake Tahoe, and he has 14 years of experience working in government. His primary mission revolves around harnessing the power of GIS and technology to tear down the status quo by providing solutions to minimize redundancy, workload, and errors. Ryan believes that GIS and technology is an output multiplier and can help every part of an organization. His approach centers on the preference for readily deployable commercial, off-the-shelf configurable solutions, which excel in agility compared to complex, customizable alternatives. Ryan is an avid skier, mountain biker, and camper who enjoys being outdoors outside of cell phone service and spending time with his wife and his dog. So we're grateful to have you here, Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Happy to be here. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. I have a small presentation about this. So to start off, again, my name is Ryan Malhoski. I'm the GIS manager for the city of South Lake Tahoe, California. I'm going to talk about defensible space here in the Lake Tahoe region. And so here we have a quick video showing what is called Christmas Valley right outside of the town here. On the left and right-hand sides, you can actually see the burn area from the Caldor fire that came through town here a couple of years ago. Really started off this this idea of we need to start really focusing on defensible space here in Tahoe. Tahoe is no stranger to wildfire. We've had 11 fires in recent history. We're a large wildland urban interface area, and defensible space is an important part of the wildfire safety, especially in this interface. So what is defensible space? Well, it's the buffer between your structure and the surrounding area. It's a barrier to help slow or halt the progress of fire. that would otherwise engulf your property, and ensures the safety of firefighters defending your home. In California recently, there is Assembly Bill 38, and then there's another bill that came through that is making defensible space a requirement as a part of any home sale, and those inspections have to be done by a local fire protection district. And after the Caldor fire, we had an after action review that revealed that defensible space was a large contributor to fire not spreading into our urbanized zones. Here in the Tahoe Basin, even though the Caldor fire ripped through a lot of our community, we didn't lose any structures other than a pump house for our water utility. The city of South Lake Tahoe created a defensible space inspection program that leveraged grant funding from our local resource conservation district, Tahoe Resource Conservation District, and it provided us staff, equipment, tech, and of course, funding. So I was given a set of business requirements, inspect all of the developed parcels within the city. We were going to use an already existing form LE 100A from CAL FIRE, which is actually one of the most well-designed government documents I have seen. And we wanted to keep this inspection data internally. We also had to report this upwards to CAL FIRE, and we wanted to mail all these inspections to the property owners after we inspected. Before GIS was involved, what inspectors did was print out a whole bunch of these forms, put them in a clipboard, and then walk around neighborhoods inspecting properties, filling them out by hand. Once they finished that, they came into the office, they would scan the form, save it into a local drive. They would input the information that they wrote on the form into Excel for our internal reporting. Then they would enter that information again into a reporting system that TRCD, Tahoe Resource Conservation District, made for us. And then they photocopy the form and then mailed it out. And they had to write the ownership information onto the envelope. So we are writing the same information multiple times, which also creates a lot of areas for error to be introduced, typos, things like that, that could really harm the data. So my inspecting crew came to me and said, hey, this seems really redundant. Can you help us? You know, and I asked why they didn't come to me before. And one of the reasons was, it's like, well, this isn't really mapping. All we're just doing is filling out a form and mailing stuff out. How is this GIS? Because GIS is just maps, right? So luckily, I had a great opportunity to educate staff here that, well, GIS isn't just maps, it's the data behind it. So the solution I came up with was an all commercial off-the-shelf solution using ArcGIS Online, Field Maps, Survey 123, Microsoft's Power Automate, and Microsoft Office 365. And the great thing is the city already owned all of these things. We already had licenses, we already had the system set up. So really it was just taking these configurable portions and just putting them together. There's really no customization involved with this. So within Field Maps, the inspector is walking around with an iPad, and Field Maps allows the inspector to walk around the area and have an offline capable service. Here in South Lake Tahoe, we have very poor cell coverage in a lot of our neighborhoods. So having this to be able to be used while being offline is very important to us. And Field Maps allows us to be able to do that, to download all the parcel information, to download all the previous inspection information. So it's right there in front of the inspector as they're walking around. So I made a web map with our parcels that has the ownership information and a lot of structure characteristics that come from our county's assessor's office. So we had a lot of information that we could use downstream. Using Arcade, I created a Survey 123 app link, mainly because I wanted to use the reporting function of Survey 123. So we had to kind of bounce between both apps. And if you're in the GIS world, you've known that you have to sometimes bounce between these two apps. The Arcade expressions allowed me to create this Survey 123 link that transferred 15 of the attributes that we needed from the parcel information, and also create a centroid geometry of the parcel to make it easily fit within the Survey 123 platform. So in Survey 123, I had a whole bunch of hidden questions that consumed all that information that came from that URL. That also included the user's name and email address that will be used later. The field worker, it's a very friendly interface compared to the field maps application because it's large buttons with really easy configurable conditional questions. And I can use webhooks when the form is submitted. And then I use a custom template that I made to insert the data onto that CAL FIRE form. The actual reporting was done using O365 and the Power Automate system. So after every submission, inspection data is inserted into Survey 123. I parse some of the information to grab like the person's name, what CAL FIRE unit they are, and it automatically formats the data the way I want it to, and then uploads it directly to an editable feature class that TRCD had for us. So this just happens within a second or two after they hit submit, as long as they're connected to the internet. And then at night, every night, I had another flow that would go through each one of these inspections and create the PDF report using the Survey 123 report writer. And then I took those reports, inserted them into a SharePoint folder that got automatically created by the date that the inspection was done. And then at the very end, create an Excel file with all of the ownership information. So my staff could easily use the mail merge function in Excel to create Avery labels so they can print them out on the printer and stick stickers on envelopes instead of having to handwrite all this out. So here's a really high level of how the flow works in creating the reports. And actually, this is a much longer flow than what I have now. Recently, Esri has put together better workflows within Microsoft Power Automate. Before, I actually had to do all HTTP requests and actually do everything through the REST API. But now there's just a Survey 123 action called Create Report. So I took half of this and it now fits in one box instead of having to do it all manually. But you can see here the flow on the left and then the output on the right within SharePoint. All the defensible space inspections have their have the OID, so we can keep track of what form they're on, and then the address of the inspection. And then, as you can see at the top, an Excel spreadsheet of that day's inspections. Here's an example of the form after it's gone through the report writer. I've inserted our own logo into it. You can see I have the inspector's name that's pulled from their Esri account. And then the date and all the information, all the check boxes here get filled in. So what was the total level of effort of this? Well, we already had the licenses for all this. We already maintained a parcel database that had all the information that we needed other than the inspection data. So it took about 60 hours of my time to develop this solution, including meetings. And each report costs about 6 cents per parcel, a half credit in ArcGIS Online. So the testimonials, a great system can be great, but as long as the end user is using it, if the end user doesn't like it, it's not really a great system. But after creating the system, all the inspectors absolutely loved it. One of my inspectors, Samantha, actually threatened to buy me a large steak dinner after making this because I just reduced the amount of time they were in the office. By taking away all this office work from them, they're able to stay out in the field because when they're out in the field, they're more productive than being in the office. And when they're happier, they're interacting with the people, interacting with citizens here within the town and educating them about defensible space. And the more time they're out there doing that, the happier they are because when inspectors come into the program, they want to be outdoors. They don't want to be at a desk at a computer filling out forms and like stuffing envelopes. I want them to be out inspecting. And of course, I won the URISA award for this. So that's a really quick overview of how the system works. I can take questions if you have anything. I have the Microsoft Flow and Excel sheets and kind of everything already up. So let me exit out of this. So yeah, if there's any questions, please let me know.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Ryan. This is very inspiring. I work in Boulder County, Colorado, where we had the Marshall Fire, which I'm sure many people have heard of. And I also live in a wildland urban interface, and we have a program here in Boulder County called Wildfire Partners. And some of my coworkers in other departments, I am hoping that they are either watching this webinar or I will share this recording with them. And I'm sure some of them are eager to hear about your specific workflows. So my question for you is, how would that be able to be shared?
So I can share how I did it just at like a high level. I think within the Power Automate system, you can actually share flows. You know, I would probably have to create another one that doesn't have our login information inserted into it, because I do have to generate a token at one point in time in this. Mainly because sometimes the report writer takes a while within Power Automate, and the typical, when you do a webhook with Esri, your token, I think, lasts about an hour. Most of the time that's totally fine. My report writer runs within that hour. But if I had 3 inspectors out inspecting all day, one day, that report writer can take a while. And I've clocked it at around 3 hours at the most. And so I had to create a token that lasted longer than the 1 hour that's the default out of the Esri tools. But it's all kind of like WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, or it's kind of visual. So when I'm the one thing about Microsoft's Power Automate, it's a really great tool, but you have to kind of establish all of your variables in advance. So you can see here on my screen, I have all of these purple icons, and these are just me setting up variables that will be used later on. Here I get my token, get the response, and then get survey records. So these are all just configurable Esri actions that you can that are already in Microsoft's Power Automate. It's really easy to use. And then it just loops through. Like if you've done programming before, it's just visual programming. But yeah, just a lot of conditional statements and loops, do run loops. And then creating the report now, thanks to Esri, is now this nice little single action here, instead of me having to write a whole bunch of HTTP requests and like wait for responses and things like that. So see a couple questions in here.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. How is using the Esri's new Power Automate connector? Is it pretty easy to set up? It's really, really simple to set up. Like just creating, like I can kind of show here really quickly. I can create a new, we'll just do an instant flow. And then underneath here, let's see, I'll just skip this for right now. But under this, I can just search Esri, or maybe it's ArcGIS. There we go. So ArcGIS has a whole bunch of triggers that are the webhooks within the platform. So here, when a record is deleted, this is all through feature classes. So these are things that are just at the feature class level. And even though they say premium here, they're only premium because you have to have an ArcGIS Online license to be able to use it. So don't think that you don't have the right tier of Power Automate. If you work for a government and have O365, you most likely have this license already. Yeah, you just have to go into O365 and open it up through the 9 dots in the top left corner. So in Survey 123, it's a simple trigger. When a survey response is submitted, it'll open this up and I can pull this open and it'll read through all the surveys that I have within my account. No, it's not loading right now. Of course, live demos. But I just select the survey within here, and then you can start creating your own actions underneath by adding new steps. Usually, control is the one that you want to use. Have a condition or a do while or do until. And then how am I using version control for your flows? There is no version control, unfortunately, or I am the GIS department for the city. I'm the only one that uses GIS on a regular basis. I do have 1 or 2 planners that use it about, quarterly. So anything that happens through here. But within Power Automate, if I'm making a major change, I just save it off as a new version. And that's my kind of version control. It's not the best, but it's what I can do. And then let's see, did you come across any roadblocks while developing this workflow? Power Automate has a memory limitation. They don't make it really apparent. So if you're creating a lot of PDF reports using the report writer, they get stored in the internal memory of this script and you can hit that max. So what I had to do was batch it. So I had to figure out how many reports am I writing? And I found out 25 reports was about the right amount to be able to not hit that memory. So I just have to figure out how many reports divided by 25. I figure out how many loops I have to do. Oh, and there's a Q&A box too. There we go. Let's see, and no other real roadblocks. I mean, everybody that was involved with it is not GIS people. They're not tech savvy people. They're firefighters. They're typically not agile in the IT world. They want to, put out fires or go out and create break lines. Using this, having it all really visual and easy to use was very important, and they just took it and ran with it. I think I spent a 15-minute meeting training them on this, and most of it was just talking with them. So they took it pretty quickly. All right, so Carlos, hey Carlos, I don't have FME. We don't have a license for it. So Carlos asked if I had FME was available for use. I don't have it, so I use Power Automate because that's the tool I have. FME I know is very, very robust in being able to do things like this. So you can most likely write this in FME. Is this workflow integrated with AGOL or Portal? This is an ArcGIS Online. I think up until recently, Enterprise wasn't supported by Power Automate in ArcGIS. So everything was done in ArcGIS Online. And because this program has grown, so after my first year of doing this, neighboring fire protection districts wanted to start using this platform. They were like, hey, we want to do this too. You made it really simple. So instead of trying to teach them how to create their own Power Automate instance, all I did was add their ArcGIS Online users to a group in my organization to be able to have access to all this. Let's see here. I can actually show. I have to actually check to see which fire protection district is inspecting. So here I have these conditional statements where, because I can pull the email address of the user from their ArcGIS Online account, I just look for, their email ends with city-of-slt.us. I know they work for us. If they have an email address of Lake Valley Fire, I know they work there, and it sets off a different flow when it creates the reports. So AGOL is where I did all of this, mainly because offlining of data on ArcGIS Online is a lot easier than offlining in Enterprise. It should be the same, but if you're in GIS, you know that it's not always the same. So, and then use ArcGIS Online. Does Tahoe have an ArcGIS Enterprise as a part of it? Yes. I have my ArcGIS Enterprise and an ArcGIS Online. They look very similar. I use my ArcGIS Online mainly for public data. So they're not hitting my internal servers. And like, because of where we're at, we have vacation home rentals, which is a really hot topic in a lot of areas that have a lot of tourism, and we have a lot of zoning issues. I get hit about 1 million times a year on my VHR data, my vacation home rental data, and that would just kill my internal server. I just don't have the budget to be able to handle that, to create a machine that can handle that many requests. So I let ArcGIS Online handle all of those requests, but I use the collaboration tools between Enterprise and ArcGIS Online to automatically send that data out to the web. So as long as it gets updated in my ArcGIS Enterprise, it automatically gets sent almost instantly out to ArcGIS Online. And then, thanks, Carlos. Let's see, are you using conditional values and field maps? No, I'm not using conditional values and field maps. Field maps in this instance is just for the inspector to be able to see where they've inspected before, if we've inspected a parcel, and then just to click on it and it creates a survey link. So it creates that URL. So all they do is they tap on the parcel, they'll make sure that it's the right address that they're standing in front of, and then hit the link that gets generated through the arcade code that I've written. And then it automatically opens up the Survey123 app with all the information already preloaded into it. They do the inspection as soon as they hit submit, it's automatically flips back over to field maps. It's called a callback. If you use both apps, make sure you use the callback URL parameter, because it makes things so much easier on your field staff. So they're not figuring out, wait, do I need the blue one or the green one? Is it the purple app that I need? You know, like, I want to take it out of their hands. I want to make sure that all they have to do is enter in information. Sweet.
There may be one more comment in the Q&A from Andrew.
Sorry, I'm like, got multiple things up here.
It's okay. Andrew says, great job. What workflows are done in field apps versus what is done in Survey123?
So again, just what I kind of explained, the field maps is just for visualizing the data, just seeing the parcels. We don't inspect government-owned parcels. We actually have a lot of government-owned parcels up here. So we're not inspecting those. So those are colored differently on the map. So as they're following the blue dot, as they're walking down the road, they can tell, oh, this is owned by by a government agency, so I don't need to inspect this. And then because I'm creating those centroids, I have those dots sit on top of the parcels, and I have a hierarchy is like, the latest inspection will sit on top, and they're different colored dots that'll tell you if they passed in the previous inspection or if they had a violation previously. So we can go quickly look around and be like, oh, they were fine before, they're not fine now. So, and it doesn't block the whole parcel, like, and each one is a different size. As they get older, they get larger, so you can kind of see how many inspections they had visually.
Yes, we answered Travis's chat question, didn't we? Conditional values. Okay. If anyone else has questions, please put them in the chat box, since we have Ryan here on the horn to help us. I have a few questions, maybe at a higher level. Have you done any sort of analysis of cost benefit analysis about how much time and money you've saved your city?
I didn't really go into like the money. I really like to think, money can be different because you have different labor costs for different people. So I like to just think of like hours, like how many hours are we doing something? So we've actually went from per parcel, it was taking 15 to 20 minutes per parcel to do an inspection, from inspection to mailing out the inspection. So from beginning to end, we're now at around 2 to 3 minutes. So we have a huge time savings there, so there's that amount of savings there. And then the other kind of intangible things is like we reduce errors by doing this, because they're not typing anything in really other than a comment field. Everything is pre-selected questions, pre-selected answers. So we're not getting, if you in databases, a capital YES is different than a lowercase YES. And so we don't want to have that. We want to have data normalization. So we want to make sure that our data is consistent all the way through the system.
Yeah, I'm sure the cost benefit is both the dollars and cents, the hours, the relationships that you've built with your stakeholders, and just positive momentum going forward into the future. You have all these other fire districts lining up and wanting to participate. So that's pretty cool. And that leads me to my next question, which is how do you handle like the feedback loop of feedback about how this workflow and process is working out? Do you entertain questions through emails, or do you have like a formalized process for feedback?
Not really. We're a small city. We only have about 150 full-time staff across our whole city. The fire inspectors sit downstairs from me. We have a large open atrium building that we sit in, so I see them almost every day, just walking around, like going to getting some water from the water cooler, or just being there. So I also have a open door policy. When I talk with them, I tell them, please come and ask me questions, because I don't want them to be out there spinning their wheels, wasting time, being like, why can't we make this better? And they've actually given me a lot of feedback. I've made a few changes because of their feedback. I have a long history of surveying. I've been out in the field. I have traveled across this country, going all sorts of places, surveying. And so I know what it's like to be out in the field. And I know if you can save a couple seconds by doing one specific thing, and if I'm doing that specific thing hundreds of times a day, that's hundreds of seconds that I'm saving. And over the time, like I'm just saving up all of that. And then also, it helps them have that morale. It's not just they've been given this edict from up high, you must use this platform and you can't change it, you have to use it the way it is. It's just like, no, this is a two-way street. You're the one using it, I'm just the one managing the data. So I want to make sure that it works for you as well as works for me in the end product, but I want to make sure that they're happy. And because if they're happy, they're more efficient, and it creates a better product.
Yeah, hallelujah, brother. um, so this is a big win for you and city of South Lake Tahoe, and we're here to celebrate you. This is a big deal. What types of outreach and GIS champion efforts are happening within your chain of command, within your workflow? Does your city council or your local region know that you've won this award, and how can you help to advocate this award that is just happened? I mean, perhaps even this webinar, you could share this link to the fact that you're advocating for GIS champions all over the country and sharing your work.
Mm-hmm. No, because we're a small town, I know my council members, my city council members. We have a council type system here with the city manager. My upper management does know about this. They had to sign off on, for the award, but I've definitely let them know, hey, this has happened. These are the things that are happening, but it's the matriculation of the praise through other organizations. So like with my neighboring fire protection district, Lake Valley Fire, they saw how great it was. They started using it. They told our fire chief, who told, like our city manager, like, hey, we're really happy that you guys created this, because where we're at, we're a small town. We're the only incorporated town within the Lake Tahoe Basin. Everything else is unincorporated county. There are 5 counties and 2 states that cover Lake Tahoe. And we're on the other side of the hill from all of our government agencies. Like I fall within El Dorado County, but the county seat is on the other side of a mountain range. So we're basically on our own over here. So we think of it as like one Tahoe. Like we're all in it together because we're all connected. When this fire came through, political boundaries don't matter, organizations don't matter. It's all about making sure that everybody is safe. I think that constant contact through all these different organizations, understanding what we're doing and that we're sharing it too. It's not something that we're keeping for ourselves and not giving it to anybody else, because, I live very close to the edge of the city boundary here. And I just have people that live in the county just on the other side, and it's just like, we're all in the same place, whether a political boundary separates us, we're still here trying to help each other. We're a small community. So so championing this, because of this award, my council has realized that GIS is just more than maps. It's data, it's analysis, it's intelligence. So I recently, just 2 weeks ago, presented at my city council to kind of tell them all the other things that I do, because like this is very visible, because council members receive these letters in the mail because they didn't ask for this inspection. We're just going out and doing it. So they're like, hey, how did this happen? And so they started seeing the visible portions, but I got to tell them all the other things I'm involved in and how GIS is integral into all of our city systems. The main thing I told them, like up here, you definitely want to push public safety, fire, and snow plowing. And I'm involved in those things because those are the most visible and the things that touch people the most here. So I tell them, it's like, well, the police and fire CAD systems are GIS based, and they have to use my data to be able to quickly navigate to a fire and to some sort of event. And with snow plowing, we just released a snowplow tracking application. We have vehicle location systems on our plows, so people can see how efficient we are at plowing, because a lot of times people only see what's outside of their front door, and we need to tell them like, hey, we have to handle the whole city. It's not just your little neighborhood. So this allows us to like really engage with the citizens and show them the work that we're doing as a city in a map form, because everybody can understand a map up here.
Yeah, this is the reason why Ryan and City of South Lake Tahoe won this enterprise system category URISA Exemplary Systems and Government Award for 2023. This says it all. The holistic way that he has shared his work very generously with all of us today. He's willing to, collaborate with people in his region. He's not seeing boundaries. He's not holding back. He's sharing his work. This is really why URISA exists, and why I think so many of us are proud to be part of this organization. So these exemplary systems and government awards, as I said, have been happening for 24 years. Ryan is just the latest and greatest 2023 winner. We have other award winners from 2023 who will be coming up during the March, April, May, and June webinars that are upcoming. And we can announce those in a moment. But before we do, I just want to check back and see, does anyone have any other last minute questions for Ryan? Ryan, maybe in the chat, you could share your contact information if
Mhm.
people do want to email you or communicate with you. We're really proud of you.
Thank
And
you.
this is just very practical and inspiring. You know, the uh, pivot of technology, common sense, smarts, um, practical use of government funds, championing your big win here, and you should just be very proud of it. And we're proud of you.
Thank you. And one other thing, talking about like government funding and whatnot, one thing that's kind of surprising and actually kind of funny about all this is that the grant funding that we got to do this, so to pay for all this, to pay for the inspectors, pay for their vehicle, gas, labor, and all that, and for this tech, um, they had a statutory limit of how many inspections we did, and we did double the amount that we were supposed to do. The system was too efficient. So we actually, this last year, we actually added more questions because we're like, hey, they're out there collecting this stuff. Hey, we should see if they have like natural wood decks, fences, and things that won't be captured in an assessor database. So we're actually gathering more information to keep our community safe. So like, yeah, we were too efficient. The system was too efficient for our grant funder. So we had to figure out how to make it slower, but by gathering more information.
Yeah, you're awesome. Wendy Nelson says, consider celebrating your own organization's accomplishments. Ryan was brave and put himself out there. It's a pretty hefty process to apply for this Exemplary Systems and Government Award. Um, the process is open. We are going to be reviewing the applications for this coming year, and Wendy has put a link in the chat. And we also have coming up March, April, May, and June. Are there any other questions? Let's make sure.
Carlos had,
Oh, yeah.
no, none of our inspectors needed police escorts because we don't enter properties. This was all curbside. We did have some people that reached out and said, hey, I want a full in-depth inspection of my property. So they're inviting us onto their property. But all this is just our inspectors walking down the road and just looking from the front. Because of where we're at, there's not a lot of fences in Tahoe because of the natural environment. People don't want fences. They want to look out at nature. So it's really easy to look around a house and see what's behind it, we're not entering people's property.
Yeah, thank you, Alejandro, for that. Or for I don't know who
Carlos, yeah.
Carlos, yeah. Thank you, Carlos. So many good questions. If there are no more questions, yes, Danielle, we can go ahead to the next slides. We want to just reinforce all of the great work that URISA is doing. If you're not a URISA member, please become one because it's important. This is a grassroots community. We have many events coming up, webinars. You see on your screen right now, role of GIS in determining FEMA community disaster resilience zones. That's coming up soon. GIS and flood hazard identification. And then going on to next slides. This is the organization or the committee that I'm on, the URISA Excellence in GIS webinar series. I'm part of this committee that gets to award these awesome awards, and Ryan is our top winner for last year. So coming up March 8th, we have the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission from Ohio talking about tornado recovery monitoring. And then there's two categories in this ESIG awards system, single process and enterprise. So Friday, March 12th, we have King County, Washington out of Seattle, talking about smart building management systems. May 10th, Pulaski County, Arkansas, damage assessment, emergency response. And then June 14th, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, their fiscal GIS hub. All of these award winners are super inspiring. It's very fun to be part of the committee that gets to peer review these applications. And I'm telling you, this is top-notch stuff. And so put these on your calendars. All of these Excellence in GIS webinar series are free, and you can put them on your calendar and come back, and we will be doing this for the next 4 months. So going ahead, other things coming up. Best practices when thinking about the geo and geospatial data governance, Wednesday, March 13th. You see that on your screen. All of these webinars are available on the URISA website. And I'm a recent graduate of the GIS Leadership Academy in Denver, Colorado. Ryan, you too?
Yeah, Santa Rosa.
Okay. It was one of the most powerful experiences of my professional career. I wish you and I, Ryan, could have been in the same class, but I'm very proud to have experienced that. And then, of course, we have the GIS Pro 2024 this fall in Portland, Maine. I have just signed up in this last week for the LEAP conference, which is all online, location, enterprise, addressing, public safety. I'm a 911 GIS professional, so I heard you talking about that, Ryan. The conference being online is a very great value. You can attend virtually, and CalGIS, March 2024, and then the GIS Valuation Conference, which I was involved in the past, April 2024 in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I guess the point is that URISA is incredibly valuable, and grassroots and people like Ryan stepping up to share this webinar with all of us today makes this all happen. So check out URISA's website. I'm not sure if there's any other questions. I don't see any. We really appreciate you, Ryan, and we're proud of you. Hope that you can be a champion and your city council can champion you, and you'll get some positive traction and momentum going forward. Maybe you'll even get another GIS position added because of this momentum.
I hope so too. Getting an FTE in government, a new FTE, is very difficult. And I think this is definitely helpful on that path forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to everyone for joining on a Friday. We're glad you're here. We're appreciative to Ryan and all of the URISA staff, including Danielle and Wendy. So thank you very sincerely for joining us. And please check out URISA's website and the upcoming Exemplary Systems in Government Award webinars, and consider applying for the 2024 ESIG Awards. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and go Niners.